YouTube, what is going on? Julian back with another video. And as you can tell, well, maybe you can tell, not too sure, but it's kind of gloomy outside over here in San Antonio right now. The weather's it's just been raining like nonstop, super cloudy. There's like no sun, so super unmotivating. Not even really like feeling up to making a video, but of course I'm gonna hop on here, and I thought that there was a few things that I would talk about while I'm passing some time at this open house. Kind of changed up the view. I don't know, it looks kind of nice. I really like this accent wall over here, so I was like, let's just put that in the background. Either way, what I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to talk about 3 pros and 3 cons of being a real estate agent. And these are just some of the things that I've experienced and that I would like to let you guys know about. So I'm assuming that most of you that are watching this video are most likely going to become an agent instead of already being an agent. I mean, if you're already an agent, then you kind of have an understanding. If you agree with some of these, let me know down below. But as somebody who's coming into real estate, you don't really know what to expect, especially if you've never been, let's just say, self-employed. Because you're pretty much self-employed, you're running your own business, and it's completely different than working like a 9-to-5 job. So that brings us to number 1. And so number 1 is flexibility. So with a 9-to-5 job, you don't really have a lot of flexibility. I mean, it depends where you work. I mean, I know some employers are, maybe you work from home, but for the most part, you're kind of grounded to where you need to be for at least a few hours a day. And as a real estate agent, there's like tons of flexibility. I mean, for the most part, your schedule can be completely booked at the same time and there's no flexibility that day. But there are going to be days where you might sit there and you're like, nobody's calling me. And you're thinking to yourself, I do not have any showings. What do I do? And that's kind of the flexibility that I'm talking about. And so what's really cool about that is that if you don't have a lot going on that day, if you wanted to try to take a day off, you really could, because you don't have to ask anybody for the day off. Or if you're looking to take a day off, then you just plan around that day and you just let your clients know, hey, I'm either going to be out of town or I have something planned for the evening, but I can work with you in the morning. So what's really cool about being a real estate agent is clearly your flexibility and your scheduling. And not only that, but it gives you time to do the things that you love, spend time with the people that you love, and just do a little bit more. Maybe if you'd like to be a traveler, I know I love traveling, so then you can definitely go ahead and just say, you know what, if I feel like taking next week off and going to, let's just say, Los Angeles, California, then you know what, I'm going to take that day off and go to Los Angeles, California, or that week off and go to Los Angeles, California. And you are able to do that. Of course, the only thing about that is that it kind of hinders your business a little bit, just because if you're gone for, let's just say, 7 days, then of course, you're missing out on work because it just depends on you. It's not like paid vacation or anything like that. But if you set yourself up, to be in a good enough position to basically do that, then you have nothing to worry about. So basically, your success is dependent on you. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But I think that it's a pro, especially if you know that you're going to be putting in the work, then you have nothing to worry about. And flexibility is awesome, and you're definitely going to enjoy it. So that brings us to number 2. And number 2 is that you are on call 24/7. So I know that these two might kind of be like headbutting each other right now. But by being on call 24/7, I don't necessarily mean that hey, you got to pick up exactly what you're doing, take off and go show a house, or pick up the phone if necessary at midnight. So what I mean by that, though, is that if you are trying to take a day off, because we all need a break and we all need to relax, you're more than likely still going to get phone calls from your clients if you've got a lot going on, or you're most likely going to get a call from somebody who may be looking to buy a house. And so they usually say the most successful agent is somebody who always picks up their phone. Of course, we have that scam likely now. I would still say that you should answer some of those. I know I have an issue of not always answering the scam likely because I'm usually proven right that it's a scam. But there's been a couple occasions where I've answered it and it's an actual person who's trying to either purchase or rent a house, if you like to do rentals as well. But that's just a con. I'm going to be going to Costa Rica here in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to vlog it. It's going to be my first experience in Costa Rica. And so I know or expect that I may or may not be able to go the entire week that I'm going to be there without a phone call conversation or even having to actually do something on my laptop. So I carry my laptop everywhere I go, because you just never know. There's been a couple occasions where I didn't take my laptop somewhere and I was like, man, I wish I brought it. So always be prepared, because there's always going to be something that you can do. Even if you are like 10,000 miles away from your hometown, you might be able to submit an offer. You might be able to submit an application for somebody looking for a rental. Maybe you just have to respond to an email. You're basically on call 24/7. So it's a blessing or curse when it comes to the flexibility and when it comes to basically being on call 24/7. So now we are on number 2 for the pros, and number 2 for the pros is going to be the connections. And the reason why I bring this up is because when you are in this field, you are meeting tons of people on a daily basis, and you are just building connections left and right, whether it's with an agent, a mortgage lender, insurance broker, or your clients. Like, you're just constantly meeting other people with this or in this field. And so I think that's a really big pro, and I'm just going to tell you like a small story why, and then I guess you can kind of just figure out, how that falls into your life. But one of my clients who was actually a cold call, so just so you know, cold calling does work. But one of my clients who was a cold call, he's an investor, and we've already closed on 3 or 4 different properties, and we still have 3 other. Got a little tongue twister there. And we still have three houses under contract currently. But that's not only what's good. Obviously, like, he's providing me business, and I work hard for him because he takes care of me. I want to make sure that I'm going to take care of him at the end of the day. But not only that, but even in my first couple months of knowing him, he had offered me, because I had been in an accident, if you look at one of my previous videos, and I was kind of driving around like that for a little while, and he told me that he owned a body shop and he worked on cars. And so I kind of took him up on that maybe about 3 months later, when I had, the finances to be able to repair my car. And he actually took my car in and he pulled the frame out, because unfortunately my front frame was pushed in, and they pulled that out and they basically put the car together. They didn't paint it though, because of course that would be additional, but they put all the pieces together for me, and they kind of aligned everything, and he didn't even charge me a dime. And honestly, I'm blessed to have met him. That was awesome. I'm pretty sure if I went to another shop, they would have charged me, who knows, like maybe even $800 to pull frames, to get everything aligned, and to take off the old parts and put the new parts in. So just something like that can, impact your life or impact your day. It could be something as small as you showing up to somebody's coffee shop and he's like, you know what, today it's on the house. You've been taking care of me. Just whatever the case may be, is the connections that you build in this industry are amazing. And so that is honestly pro number 2. And now we're on con number 2. And con number 2 is inconsistent pay or unstable pay. So as a brand new agent, clearly you have to build your business, and you have to, get into the point where you're either getting referrals or you're just having consistent closings, back to back, maybe even if it's just once a month, which would be amazing, honestly, if you're a new agent. And so with the inconsistent pay, the reason why I bring that up is because there's more than one factor that could actually make you lose your pay. And that could just be that maybe you got a house under contract. Let's just say you had 4 houses under contract. There is a slight possibility, or actually it's like 50-50, who knows, that you might actually lose all 4 of those houses under contract, and you were expecting that pay next month, and now you have nothing. So you just always constantly have to be prepared. Never let your foot off the gas, and just continuously push and push and push and push to get more business. Continue helping people find their dream home. Continue building your business, your legacy, and basically just be prepared for anything. I would always say, if you can have, some money on the side just in case, then you would feel a lot better than if you didn't. And I would just say that because personal experience. I quit my job, no savings, no nothing, jumped into full-time real estate because I just, put faith into it. And man, it's been a journey. It's a roller coaster. Blessed to have made it this far. I'm, getting close to maybe a year in November of being a full-time self-employed person, and I've never done that in my life. But there's a lot of stressful moments in that because I didn't have a savings. And if you can have a savings, I would be like, honestly, just go for it. But if you are impatient like I am, and you just have 110% faith within yourself, then I will never say no, don't do it. I mean, if you have belief in yourself, go for it. But yes, inconsistent pay, deals can fall through. Just always be prepared. And pro number 3. And this one I'm still experiencing myself, and I'm still growing in this direction. So I can't necessarily say that I've 100% experienced this, but I see it with other agents and I see it in my own team. And number 3 is basically scaling your business and just growing in general. And what I mean by that is, so when you're an individual agent, I'm pretty sure you've heard of a broker. You have to leave your license with the broker. At one point in your career, if you decide, I think it's 4 to 5 years of experience plus tons of hours. So if you want to start in your early, years of real estate, just start going to classes because I just found out that it actually counts for your broker license. Either way, you can become a broker. And so what happens is when we become an agent, we usually pay splits to a broker. And that's because we're holding our license with them. And so the broker gets a percentage of that. Well, if you become the broker, then you don't have to give a split to anybody if you open up your own brokerage. So when it comes to that, it's just what I mean by scaling your business is you're getting to a point where you have enough clients, enough referral business to go off on your own, become a broker, and now you're getting 100% commissions as opposed to, let's just say, 40, 50% commissions, depending on which broker you're with. And not only that, but not a lot of people know about what I'm about to talk about next. And what I'm about to talk about are downlines. And downlines basically are going to be somebody who is underneath you. Let's just say you're with Keller Williams. And then your friend joins Keller Williams too. And they're like, who is your sponsored agent? And you become their sponsored agent and they're right underneath you. And what's cool about that is that whenever they sell a property, whenever they close anything, you get a small percentage of that commission. So it's like passive income. And it doesn't come out of their commission. It comes out of I believe it's Keller Williams. Since they take a percentage of it, you get that percentage of the percentage that they were going to take anyways. So you're not affecting your friend or the person that you got basically under you. And the way that I see that is you can pretty much create like a team, or you can officially create a team and have these people join your team. It could be like, let's just say Julian's real estate group. But you can have a team, and it's kind of the same thing as, where they're paying a split to you. And then you can also just have downlines. So if you have, let's just say 20 people under you, and if I personally would like coach them, I would be there for them, because if they're successful, I'm successful. And so if they're doing really good and they're closing houses left and right, you're not going to get a gigantic lump sum of money, but you are going to get a little bit of money. And even an additional $500 a month that you didn't necessarily have to go and work for, but because you built a good solid foundation of people who are under you, then, why not, And so that's going to be number 3. Okay, so con number 3, and it's self-driven. Why is that a con? Well, the only reason I'm considering it a con is just because I think of human nature, and we're just scared to always go into the unknown. And so when I think about somebody being scared to go into the unknown, which is basically being scared to get uncomfortable, I think that as you're becoming an agent, you have to get out of your comfort zone. There's no way that you can stay in your comfort zone. You cannot just sit back and wait for people to start calling you to buy houses. You have to actually be on the field working. You have to door knock. Well, not necessarily. You find your avenue. But you get me. You have to do all the dirty work, especially in the beginning years of becoming an agent, unless for some reason you have a gigantic sphere and people are calling you left and right. There's maybe the minor exception. But for the most part, you're always going to have to get uncomfortable. You're always going to have to push yourself. And there's going to be days, just like I said today, I didn't really feel like coming on camera. I don't even feel like working, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm at an open house right now, and I have showings in the evening. Just because, for example, one thing, and everybody has their own thing. And I was getting a FaceTime call, so my phone got mixed up and I totally forgot where I was at. But for the most part, you get me. It's human nature to have resistance. It's human nature to be scared of the unknown. It's human nature to want to be comfortable. And I only make self-driven as a con. It really depends, and it comes down to the individual within themselves. But I just say that because it's, we're human at the end of the day, and we all have our own struggles that we have to overcome. If life in that moment is just clearly not going in the direction that you wanted to go, and I've been there plenty of times, just giving you an example, there's times where I had $0 in my bank account. I was talking about my crash earlier. My car was crashed. I had $0 in my bank account. I didn't know how I was going to pay rent, and I had to force myself every single day to get out of that hole that I basically got myself in. And with that, if the only way that I was able to make it where I'm at now is because I continued to work, and I continued to put my faith within myself, within God, and to believe that I was going to overcome these struggles and that it was going to come back to me. And a lot of people in those moments might actually give up. You're thinking to yourself, I can't show houses. My car is looking like it's a wreck. and you're thinking to yourself, I have no money in my account, what am I doing? I should just get a job and get some consistent pay. Maybe this just isn't for me. And you know, I'm telling you right now that it is for you. And if you chose this path, you chose this path for a reason. And even if you don't do this for the rest of your life, there is something that you are going to learn from it, and that you're going to come out from, you know, this experience, you know, better than you were before you got into it. And personally, I think that real estate has changed my life in many different ways, because of the connections, because of getting out of my comfort zone, because of pushing myself to the limit, and because of the lows that I've hit in this industry as, you know, a new agent. And anybody who's super experienced would be like, you know what, you're going to be okay, or whatever the case may be. You know, people even told me to get a job. I didn't have to get a job even when I was in that position, because I put the work in. And so you guys can do the same exact thing. So like I said, it's a con, but at the same time, it's a pro. But I just thought I would throw it in there because everybody likes to stay comfortable. Don't stay comfortable. Keep pushing to be great. And I want to end the video here. I hope you guys liked it. Please like it. Please leave a comment down below if any of this resonates with you. I appreciate the support. Hit that subscribe button. If you want more tips, just let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.